to my YouTube channel. So if you are new here, my name is Shelly. I'm a third grade teacher in Northern California. This is my second year teaching and my second classroom. I did have to move rooms last year. So as you can tell by the title of this video, I am going to be giving you a handful of ideas on how to organize your classroom. Especially if you're a new teacher, it is super overwhelming, the amount of stuff that you accumulate and that you're handed, and trying to find the best system and way to organize it for you can be really, really tricky. So I'm gonna share with you ways that I organize my classroom. Now, this is not the end all be all, and I guarantee you if I make this video in 2 years, it's gonna be completely different. However, I wish when I was a new teacher setting up a classroom, maybe even not a new teacher, I wish somebody just got on here and gave me different ideas and ways to organize stuff. So hopefully you guys find this a little bit helpful. If you do enjoy these type of videos, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and let's get started. So I basically broke down different organization systems that I have running in my classroom, and I'm gonna have clips of all of those here for you. So I think I'm just gonna start one by one, and I'm gonna walk through what I use in my classroom and some other things that I've seen that maybe you think would work better for you. Okay, so the very first thing is your classroom library. I have seen this done a ton of ways, and the way that I do it this year, I prefer to the way I did it last year. So I don't have built-in bookcases for a library in my classroom, so I did have to purchase bookcases, so I highly recommend waiting to see your space before you do that. However, if you don't get bookcases, definitely search for something that can hold bins. For me personally, I use the Dollar Tree bins. They're $1 each, and I separate my library by genre. I've also seen it done by reading levels, which honestly, I don't know, I'm kind of tempted to steer away from that just because I want kids reading what they enjoy. And then on top of my classroom library, I have the students' book bins, and I personally hate when kids have stuff on their desk. It drives me insane. So this is just a way to get their silent reading books off their desk and in a safe space so they know where their stuff is. Now, I am gonna admit I'm not the best at keeping my library organized because I do find that the genres kind of get shifted. However, I do have 2 librarians as classroom jobs that kind of go through and make sure my library is intact. So that is kind of how I organize my library in the sense of the books. And then as far as the space goes, I just make sure I have enough seating options, and I wanna make it as cozy and comfy as possible for the kiddos. So the next organization system that you're gonna have to think about is how you wanna organize student supplies. Now, this is still a work in progress for me, and I totally changed the way I did it from last year. Some schools, all the kids have enough supplies from home, so they have pencil boxes, which is great. I have also seen teachers have like pouches on the backs of kids' chairs. Last year I had the caddies in the middle, and I just hated that, but that is something that you could do if you think that would work for your kiddos. I am thinking next year I wanna try something totally different and use like a 3-drawer system, but I actually really like the way my organization is working this year. So basically what I do is on my, I call it my supply counter now, each table group has a cup of colored pencils or markers and glue and scissors, and that's their table stuff. So if we ever need the supplies, I have their team captains go over there, pick them up, and they know what they need. So for me personally, that is what I have found this year works the best for me as far as student supplies go. If you have any other ideas on how to store student supplies, go ahead and leave them down below. I want this to be a communal conversation because, again, this is only my second year. I don't know everything, and I'm always looking for other organization tips. So the next space I want to talk about is actually right behind me, and it is your guided reading, guided math area. So for my guided readers, I actually use the same book bins that my students have, and I leveled those by reading level because for guided reading, the levels do actually matter because you want to target their specific instructional reading level. So that has worked really well for me in the sense of grabbing books that I need. And then I have another bookcase, and I've also seen this done in a cart, so you keep that in mind too, where I organize the supplies that I'm going to need. So as you can see, I have my word work tub up there, my math manipulatives, I have trays, I have 2 little 3-drawer systems where I keep supplies that I might need. I have these 3 baskets down here to divide up my different groups of work or work in progress that we're currently working on in guided reading. I also keep my guided reading plans back here. I also keep my running record boxes back here as well. I love this space because I just know where everything is, and this did not start this way at the beginning of the year, so I'm really happy that it's kind of transitioned into what it is now. Again, I'm sure it'll look a little bit different as I advance in my career, but for now, this is what works for me. Okay, so then the next organization system is extra supplies slash like teacher supplies. I'm fortunate enough to have a big cabinet, and I organize all of my supplies in the same tubs that I used from the Dollar Tree, and I labeled them. Labels are huge for me when it comes to organization. It's just when you open up a space and you can see everything right in front of you, there's something that just makes my little organizational heart like pitter patter, because it's just so easy to see and clean and decluttered, and I love it. Another thing for teacher supplies, if you don't have one, I highly recommend you get a teacher toolbox. This is like for my personal supplies that I keep behind my desk. And as you can see, there's just a bunch of little drawers, again, very clearly organized and labeled. And it's just, it really helps with keeping your desk decluttered. So I highly recommend. I will link these labels down below. So that is how I organize my supplies and extra supplies. It's what works for me. If you have, like I said, any other ideas, leave them down below. If you don't have a cabinet, I'm interested to see how you handle that. So go ahead and leave a comment. The next area that you're gonna wanna organize is your manipulatives. This could also be kind of partnered with like STEM or like a maker space. I personally use tubs just from the Dollar Tree. I like to have lids on them because manipulatives tend to mean little pieces. And I use this cubby system that I honestly got at Garage for like 20 bucks. And that holds all of my manipulatives that I currently have. I have also seen teachers do this in a drawer system. So if they have some sort of a drawer unit, they can put the manipulatives in there. So that's another way to think about organizing your manipulatives. Again, I highly recommend labeling everything so it's easy for the kids to see, easy for you to see. In our classroom, they can go over there and take whatever they need at any time. So I like to have things nice and clean, organized, and easy to see, so it's nice for the kids. Another area you might want to think about as far as classroom organization goes is your anchor charts. This is something that I am enjoying a lot this year. So I love anchor charts. I think they're super important in the classroom. However, you don't want to keep everything up all year long. It's just not necessary. Well, I mean, maybe it's necessary, but it's just not possible. I don't have enough wall space. So I will fold mine up and I will either put them on a coat rack that I have in my cupboard. Again, I'm fortunate in that sense. But I also have like a laundry rack that I got from Target. Right now it's housing my pocket chart, but I've also used clothes hangers to pinch and hold my anchor charts, and then I've lined them up that way. So that's definitely a way that you could store your anchor charts. I've also seen teachers get those big plastic bags and they store them in that way, and then they like can slide them under stuff. I just like the ability to kind of flip through them like a clothing rack and see what I could pull out and things like that. So that's what works for me in my classroom. Okay, I saved this one towards the end because I'll probably spend half the video talking about it. I still struggle with this, and that is your paper flow. And I feel like I can divide this up into several categories, but I'm just gonna go by showing you what I currently use. So the first thing that I do is I have 3 units that each have 3 drawers in them, and I have these separated out by subject. Many teachers do it by day of the week. I prefer to do it by subject because our school days just get crazy and I never stick to my Monday through Friday plans. It's just, we just don't get through everything. So that is what I use for my paper flow. I also have a green basket right here. That's where I put the work that we are going to be focusing on throughout the day, or maybe even a couple of days, depending on, like I said, what we can get through. So that is what I have right here. I also have a basket on top of my drawer systems, and that's where I put extra work. So if I made too many copies or a kid wasn't here, that's where I put everything, so I know exactly where to go when the kid goes, I didn't get one. So that's what's been working for me this year. I just started that a few months ago. And then over here on my wall, I actually put these wall hangings because this is the stuff that I could not figure out how to store. So this admin miscellaneous area is just like the IEP forms that you get, random schedules throughout the year, your calendars, PD information. That's just stuff that I had no idea where to put it. So now I have a specific spot for it, and it's actually been working out amazing. And then right below it, I have a need to copy file. I used to have this in my 3 drawer system, but I found because I couldn't see it, I wasn't doing it. So that is what's here. And then my other one is teacher resources. These are books that I am currently teaching out of or using resources out of. And again, this was stuff that was taking up space on my desk and it was driving me absolutely nuts. So that was my solution. Also, I have a magnetic file folder on my filing cabinet, and this is where I keep a lot of my direct teaching materials. So our writing and math notebooks that I will pull out and put under the document camera. I always keep a whiteboard in there. Any worksheets that were kind of still in progress will go right in there, and I love that it's magnetized, so that works really well for us. So that's kind of just like the main paper flow that drives teachers absolutely insane. The next paper flow I want to talk about is like literal paper. So your plain paper, your colored paper, your cardstock, your laminating sleeves, all of that miscellaneous stuff. And then for me, things that I grab every single week, reading logs, spelling tests, things like that. I keep that in this rolling cart right here. This is from Michaels. No, you cannot buy it blue and green. I bought the clear one and I ended up just spray painting the drawers. And then again, I have everything labeled, and this is gonna completely get a makeover because throughout the year I realized that I don't need a whole drawer for certain things. So the labels might not be accurate at the moment, but I love the way this works because spelling tests on Friday, I just open up my drawer and grab what I need, and it's very readily available. So I like that as far as literal paper flow goes. I also have on my supply counter like 2 baskets for plain and binder paper for the kids to have access to, so that works for us. And then the next set of paper flow is like filing, right? Whether it's student work that you want to save or files for next year. So I do have this filing cabinet. It is a 4-drawer filing cabinet that I bought for $5, and I painted the whole thing white, and I used Dollar Tree contact paper to resurface the front of it just to make it a little bit prettier because filing cabinets are disgusting. Anyway, I have different files. This is nothing fancy. This is just your typical filing cabinet. And this isn't really where I store curriculum. It's where I store those like miscellaneous activities or forms, back to school night stuff, things like that, because my curriculum setup is totally different, which I'll show you here in a minute. But I do like this for like miscellaneous papers and things like that. All right, so then that brings us to curriculum. Now, last year I really struggled with this, especially with our ELA curriculum because there's so much stuff. So part of my ELA curriculum is behind me. My small readers all go in my guided reading section. Now, my math curriculum, the actual books, are in this cardboard box right here, and I don't love it, but I just couldn't think of anything to do with that for the year. So that stays in this cabinet. Now to the left of that, I have this system from Michaels, and each little drawer space is a clear container, and I split up the units and I have the manuals in there. And then the assessments and everything fit perfectly in this system. So I love this because I don't have to look at the curriculum. It's cleaner, it's neater, and it just works. Everything's vertical, doesn't take up a lot of space. So that is what I've been loving. What I've been loving more is these tubs for math. This looked a lot different last year, and I had everything in like folders and in the filing cabinet, and I just couldn't see anything, and it drove me absolutely nuts. So I think these bins are from Big Lots, maybe Target, don't quote me on that. But I broke up our math units, and 2 of them aren't here, to be completely honest with you, but whatever, it is what it is. And that way, when I'm working on a unit, I can pull out the tub and everything, I can just shift through it, and I don't have to like, I don't know. It just is a really easy way to see everything, and I've been loving this system. It's also a lot easier for me to, when I finish something, just throw it in the tub than it is to like go to the filing cabinet. I don't know. There's something about a filing cabinet with curriculum that just doesn't sit well with me. So this is another option, another way that you could possibly store your curriculum. Like I said, I love how neat it is, how clean it looks. You're not looking at a bunch of papers, but you know where to find everything. So that's what's been working really well for me. Quick little insert. I realized I forgot to talk about these tubs, and this is what I use to organize our IB curriculum. So anything specific that goes along with that unit, that is what goes in here. Another really good way to organize any other types of curriculum. These are supposed to be like hanging drawers. As you can see, I've gotten lazy and I just like throw stuff in there, but still it's a lot more neat to look at this way. I do have a classroom tour where I go into everything, so if you want that, I'll link it down below or put a card up here or something, so you can have that. But for this, I'm specifically focused on organization. But then I think the last kind of area that I want to talk about is just like miscellaneous stuff. And I made a little list because it didn't really fit in anywhere, but I thought it would be interesting to talk about, or maybe just give you an idea if you're struggling with these things. So thing is like indoor recess games, I just keep everything down below in a cabinet and the kids know where to go. I don't have any fancy system as far as that goes, just cabinet space. And it's kind of messy and it is what it is, but I thought I'd mention it. Another thing is clipboards. This is what I use for clipboards. I think it's like a magazine rack, but this is what's been working for us. I obviously don't have a full class set, so that helps, but this is, I think, from Walmart. And the last random thing that I could think of is like my calendar and how I change my calendar. So I have this card up front and I have a little basket where I keep all of the cards that I would ever need to change my calendar. And then that sits here, it's out of the way, and it's just a nice place to put everything. So I lied, this is the last thing, headphones. This drove me nuts last year, so hopefully this helps you. Get a shoe rack and put the headphones in it. It works perfectly. I have mine over at my partner and I's teaching door. The kids walk over there, they get them. If they're too high, I have that little step stool to the side and they use that. Oh my gosh, this changed the game for me. They had them in their desk. They were breaking all the time. It was just a nightmare, but that truly changed my life. So I really hope if you're struggling with that, you can take that, if anything, from this video. Okay guys, so those are the main organization systems that I use in my classroom. If you have any questions or if you notice that I missed something huge, please leave them down below and I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna try to answer every single question that I can. I know organization is overwhelming. I know it feels like it can't be done. I still feel that way and I have all these systems in place. So again, I just wanted to make this to give you some more ideas. I'm not saying this is the right way, and if you have a better way, again, please share it with us because we want to know. But other than that, I really hope this helps in some way, especially if you're starting your very first classroom. We've all been there and it's super overwhelming and stressful, but so much fun, so enjoy it. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video now. Make sure you are following me over on Instagram, subscribe on your way out. And other than that, I love you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you are in the world, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.